Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski, the brand doctor from uniquedesignz.net with another webinar for you guys. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to brand $1 million business, attract higher quality clients, and leverage your time to help you scale your profits. So let's get into this deck, guys, and break it open, and we're going to have some fun here. So how to brand $1 million business, attract higher quality clients, and leverage your time to help scale your profits. I'm going to share with you some stories on how I helped some of my celebrity clients, like my man Bon Jovi. We actually worked with him on 2 world tours, and we did a lot of his branding for those 2 world tours. You can see some of that here. My man Fabio Viviani, celebrity chef from Top Chef. We helped him build out some webinars and some sales funnels for his brands, and we had a lot of fun working with him. He's a big personality like myself, so we had a lot of fun there. So before we get started, guys, a little backstory about me. So when I started my business back in 2006, it all started from a story that my mom used to tell all her girlfriends. God rest her soul. She passed away recently, and a lot of the memories still hold, and they will always hold. But one of the most powerful stories she ever told was when I was a little kid. She always used to tell her girlfriends that I was a miracle baby, and I never understood what that meant. So when my parents got married in the 60s, they actually tried for 16 years to have a child. And for whatever reason, they could not get pregnant. And it was traumatizing for them and very discouraging. But these 2 individuals were unbelievably persistent. And as medicine got better, they actually found better doctors. And finally, 1979, they went to this one doctor and they figured out what was going on. And my mom went in for a short surgery, and 9 months later, I was born. And so, I don't know. I don't know about you, but 16 years is a long time to try something. And every time I heard her tell that story, I always said, wow, these people were extremely persistent, and that gave me the drive, that gave me the motivation, that gave me the enthusiasm to have this refuse to give up mentality. And I've lived with that for 38 years of my life, and it's been a tremendous driver for me. And so another quick story. So 2 years goes by, and I'm a little munchkin sitting in my crib. And my mom was in the kitchen, obviously cleaning up or something like that. And she comes into my room, looks into the crib, and I'm blue and unresponsive in the face. And I don't know what was going through her mind and what my father was going through at that single moment. But can you imagine trying to have a kid for 16 years, and then 2 years later, your child almost dies unexpectedly, and they don't know what's wrong. So they rush me to the hospital. They figure out that I lost all the salt in my body due to lack of nutrient, and whatever the case may be, they get me back to life, and the story ends there. But, when I hear that story and I hear her talk about the miracle baby, and, the funny part about it was when I was a little kid, I heard her say, it took me 16 years to have my son. And, as a 5 and 6-year-old kid, I thought that it actually took 16 years to actually conceive a child. And it's not true, obviously. But as I got older, I understood. Right. So thinking about that story day in and day out of my life, I always say to myself, like, I'm here on borrowed time, and I am here to help people. And at the time starting my business, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to all pan out. And when I got the cut, I just didn't know how that was all going to pan out. But eventually I found the vehicle that, is helping thousands of entrepreneurs each day, build better businesses to help people in their lives, whatever that may be. And so I'm just grateful to have this God-given talent of branding. I've been in branding now for 12 years, and it's just a beautiful place. I love doing what I'm doing, and I put a lot of passion behind my work. And so, not to beat a dead horse here, but as we continue on the journey, I give a lot of credit to these two because they set the tone of where I'm at today. So big shout out to my mom and dad for that. So now 38 years later, I got a little army of my own. So I got my man Canelo on the left, and it's about 18 months ago, but that's my son, Dante. You can tell he's about 3 days old or 4 days old at that picture. But now I have a bigger purpose in life, and my bigger purpose is to serve these guys and to be the best father, the best husband, the best son I could be. And so, a lot of what I do today is dedicated to these guys. And here's where we were in Aruba. We were chowing down on some Mexican food, and my sister-in-law actually captured this picture, and it's just one of those pictures that never leaves my mind. And every time I continue on with work, or I'm having a rough day, or I always remember why I started and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and a lot of it has to do with these guys now. So, what's your purpose? I want you to just never forget that while you're building your business and growing your brand, and don't be afraid to share that with your audience, because people really want to know why you're doing what you're doing. And so as I get into this slide here, I'm going to give you a quick little backstory about how my business got started. So I started out as a graphic designer 12 years ago. And it was just kind of by accident. I kind of backed into this whole thing. I was working at a local hospital, and I was a fundraising director for the Sudden Infant Death Syndrome Center. And so I was in charge of creating these fundraising events for babies or for families who lost babies to sudden infant death syndrome. And I had a pretty unique position there because what happened was I was able to raise these funds and then take that money and spend it on the programs that helped support these families. And so one of the events, I had Z100, one of the biggest radio stations in New York City, in the world really, sponsor one of my events, literally cold emailed Danielle Monero one day, and she volunteered to help, and she was a big, she contributed huge to the promotion of that. But we needed we need marketing material to help promote the event. And so my buddy at the time was a graphic designer, and he helped me design the flyers. And I didn't even know what graphic design was. I sat next to him, and I was just enamored by graphic design. And I was like, I need to learn this stuff. This stuff is amazing. So we did the event. It was awesome. I get back to the office, and I convinced my boss to buy the Photoshop program. And ever since, I got bit by the creative bug, and I never looked back. So I stayed at the hospital for a couple of years, built up a huge book of business outside of work, doing graphic design, side hustle work. And then about 3 years later, I went out on my own. And the first year of business, I was just cranking, doing 20-hour days, 22-hour days, working 7 days a week, and just kept cranking. But I'll bring you back to the slide. This is what I look like. I mean, I was everything inside of my business. I was the designer, the marketer, the salesperson. I was the delivery man because I was in the print business. So I would print all these flyers and get them delivered. And, it was extremely hard to scale anything at that point because I was just a one-man band. I didn't know anything about business. I just was really good at design. And what happened was I eventually just felt like this, the big old ball and chain. And I was really nervous because I didn't know what to do. I tell this story a lot, but it was a Saturday afternoon. I can tell you, I remember this like it was yesterday. It was like 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm working all night long. And I said to myself, is this it? Like, this is what my life is going to be? I'm going to be 50 years old designing nightlife flyers. Like I didn't know. And I started to really resent my work and resent my clients. And it wasn't their fault. It was mine. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled anymore. Like I had so much money, I didn't even know what to do with it. And that's a whole nother story for another day. But I just felt like this ball and chain was on my legs, and I couldn't get out. And, you know, I felt like this, and it was awful. You know, I felt small. I didn't know which route to take. I was lost, and I just didn't know what else to do. And so I finally start to run things into the ground, which isn't a cool thing. But what happened was, you know, I lost two big clients during the Hurricane Sandy, when Hurricane Sandy came through New Jersey, and I couldn't recoup that money. And so my lifestyle never changed. I didn't want to share with my wife that I was struggling because I didn't want to show any of that failure, but eventually it caught up to me. And the problem was, you know, my bank account started to go in the red, and I didn't know what else to do. And so I remember I was at a family barbecue on a Sunday afternoon, and everybody was having fun, and I was miserable. And I went back home, and my wife and I were watching Real Housewives of Orange County. I remember the episode. It was this guy, he was bankrupt. He had to tell his wife, and they're sitting at lunch, and I was like, whoa, this is a weird moment right now. We gotta do something. And so I turned the TV off and looked my wife in the eyes and said, listen, we got to talk. You know, business is really bad. I don't know where to go from here, and I'm really struggling. And so she jumps off the bed. She runs into my office, grabs the laptop, comes back. And it felt like an eternity, but it was like literally 30 seconds. And I wasn't sure what was going on. Either we were looking for a divorce attorneys, or she was going to help me get my business back on track. And she jumps in the bed, opens up the laptop, and she was like, let's get to work. And I'll never forget that moment. And I thank her to this day, because she was there from the beginning. Before I had two nickels to rub together, you know, she saw the progression. She saw the growth. She saw it almost tank. And she was like, I'm not going to let this guy go. She was very, very helpful and supportive during those tough times. And it's tough. And for those folks out there that, you know, have experienced something similar, you know how you're feeling at that moment. You feel like you've been defeated. You feel like a failure. Imposter syndrome comes in. You know, you feel like you don't deserve anything anymore. And it's tough to get out of that hole. But, you know, luckily I had the support from her. So over time, we start to get back on track. But I felt a little like this. You know, I felt a little like this because I was going into uncharted territories. I knew that if I was going to make a stink or get back on track, I had to provide more value to the marketplace. Okay. And that's one of the things that I knew, because when Fiverr came out, it really disrupted the design industry, and people were getting design work for like $5. So how do you compete with that? So I remember the day I was like, if I can't beat them, I'll join them. So I go and become a Fiverr designer. I thought that was going to help me get out, but I was trying everything. Right. And I'll never forget it. This woman, $5, sends in a 2-sided business card design, and she just dragged me through the mud for like 6 hours. I remember getting that PayPal from Fiverr, and it was just like, I was working for 30 cents an hour. Like, really? It's like unbelievable. And so I was like, this isn't sustainable. So I was scouring the internet looking for some help, a coach, a mentor, someone. And I found Russell Brunson. And Russell Brunson's from ClickFunnels. He built a $100 million company. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But I remember going to him and asking him, you know, I heard you got this coaching program. What is it? And he was like, well, it's $25,000. And I was like, well, I can't afford that. But he says, I got this $10,000 program that you might be interested in. And again, I didn't have the money, but I took a risk. And I said, you know what? It's not if this program works, it's when this program works. And I put it on the Amex. One thing I did have was credit. I put it on the Amex and I went to work. And he really helped me get the clarity and focus I needed to just get back on track. And so I went from negative money in my bank account to over $500,000 in revenues in just 18 months. And so it was a huge, huge help to get a mentor and coach. And I'm going to share with you a quick little message from the man.
Hey, my name is Russell Brunson, and I've had a chance to work with Henry a lot over the last probably year and a half or so. And it's funny because I first connected him really because of his message and his mission, and just really aligned with him as a person. And I obviously have a lot of designers work for me, a lot of people work for me on different things. I build a lot of my own funnels, but I wanted initially just to have Henry work on a couple of projects to see what he was able to do. And what came back was amazing, and because of that, now Henry is a big part of the ClickFunnels movement and what we're doing. He's doing images for us every single day. He's doing branding. He's doing design. He's doing all sorts of stuff. He's also doing designs for some of my personal projects on the side as well. But he's got such a good eye for not just what looks good, but what gives your customers and your potential customers an emotional response, emotional impact that doesn't leave them easily. So Henry is just such a good person, good designer, but even a better person, and someone that we are so glad to have as part of our team.
So as we built the relationship together through his Inner Circle program, he winds up being a client of mine for 2.5 years. I remember getting the call. It was Thanksgiving morning. He was like, "Hey man, I'm all over the place with my business. I have 6 different designers giving me 6 different looks. Like I need somebody to really come in and polish everything up. Would you and your team," or I didn't even really have a team at the time, but would you be interested in helping? And I said, absolutely. So worked with him for 2.5 years, building out, the branding for ClickFunnels. And again, like he said, some of his personal projects. And as we went through the process and the program, I got really, really focused, and I got a lot of clarity in what it is that I wanted to do and who I wanted to serve. And what I realized was what gets you to 6-figure revenues will not get you to the 7 and 8-figure revenues that you're striving for. And you have to do things differently. That's the bottom line, guys. And so I'm going to share with you some of the things that I went through and some ways that I felt my clients do things differently. And one of the things that I realized was time is your most valuable asset. We only get 24 hours in a day, guys. So how are we going to leverage that time more wisely to get what we are looking to get out of life and business and have that fulfillment that we're looking for, right? And so what happened was I had to leverage other people's expertise. That was the only way. It was the only way that I knew how to scale. So I had to build out my team. I had to start replacing myself. I knew that I could do all the work myself, but it wasn't going to be a good use of my time. And as soon as I did that, things started to change. I started to scale my business, and I recently was inducted into the 2 Comma Club at ClickFunnels. And the 2 Comma Club award is when you earn over $1 million with one single sales funnel using the ClickFunnels software. And I would never be able to get to this level in my life if I did not leverage other people's expertise. And so I'm going to share with you some case studies in a little bit about how I'm doing this for clients now and how they are benefiting from it. And so here's some things that I want to ask you. So are you using your time efficiently? Because if you're not, that is what's probably keeping you underneath that 6-figure ceiling. And when you start to use your time efficiently, everything is going to change. And so one of the things that I learned from Jim Rohn was you get what you tolerate. You get what you tolerate. So I tolerated for many years, just attracting the wrong clients, trying to do it all myself, struggling. It was awful. And I finally put a stop to it. I finally said, that's it. I am ready. What do I need to do? And so some of my biggest pains growing my business, and I'm sure you guys will relate, is, and I put this guy here because, it basically signifies exactly how I felt. But, I didn't have enough bandwidth. I just didn't have enough bandwidth to meet the demand. I started to get some higher quality clients like Bon Jovi, like Fabio Viviani, and I didn't want to let them down. So I just worked around the clock, but I knew that wasn't sustainable. I knew in order to get to that next level and to get that time back, I needed to leverage other people's times. I didn't have the right systems in place. I didn't have the processes in place. I talk about a story on one of my podcasts about how I rolled out this Designs on Demand program. It's no longer available, but and I have 40 people sign up right at the day that I launched it, and I lost half of them because I didn't have my processes and systems in place. And that was a tough learning lesson and a tough growing pain. But once we got those worked out and flushed out, I really started to seamlessly scale. All right. And then one of the biggest things that I kept doing wrong was I wasn't using my time wisely. I was doing admin work. I was trying to get in and do funnel work, not only for my business, but for clients. And, it was just a horrible, horrible struggle. And one thing that I really struggled with as I was growing my business was I couldn't find the A players. I couldn't find the right guys or the right gals to help me scale. I was hiring these social media gurus, and there's a guru coming out once a day now lately, right? But I kept hiring the wrong people. My focus was not there. My clarity was not there, and it was really, really tough. But now I have a team of 12, and they've been with me now for quite some time, over 3-4 years now. And, I cultivate those relationships. I cultivate those teammates, because they are teammates, they're team members, and I treat them like family. And I remember Tom Peters' quote. There was something along the lines of treat your clients like guests and your team like people. And I take it a step further. My team is my family, and I would not be able to do what I do and give you the value that we provide, without them. So I found my A players now, and I'm super grateful for them. So one of the things that one of my mentors said as I was growing and continuing to scale my practice is, structure will lead you to all the freedom you'll ever desire. And I never understood that, because structure was a struggle for me. I had a hard time finding structure. I was always like fly by the seat of your pants type of guy, the one take wonder. And it definitely slowed me down. And I remember him, he was so structured, he was so organized. He's in the vape space, and he took a business to $1 billion in just under a year. And he told me, he said, the way I was able to do that was simply by structuring everything in my life. And I started to realize that I needed to get more structure. Otherwise, I was just going to continue to spin my wheel. So the other thing that I felt was completely overwhelmed, and a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are going through that right now, or have gone through that in the past, and you just don't know what to start first. A lot of clients come to me and say, Henry, the reason why I signed up for your Brand Accelerator program is because I need focus. I need clarity. I need accountability. I need you to tell me what needs to be done. I'm not a brander. I know how to sell X. I know I am a blank. One of my clients, he's like, I'm a physician. I'm not a marketer. So I need you to help me, because I am completely overwhelmed with this whole ClickFunnels thing and so on. And so I'm hiring you to just cut that learning curve and to help me scale. And so, I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed, because again, I was everything inside of my business. I was inside my business. I wasn't working on it at all. And it just sat stagnant for a couple of years, and it was tough. That plateau sucked. And so I want to share with you a couple case studies that just showcase some of the value that I'm providing and how my clients are scaling their businesses to the $1 million mark. And so I'm going to share with you this particular woman. Her name is Carrie Ann Golliver. She's out in Colorado, and she's a phenomenal human being. I mean, her mindset's there, her knowledge and expertise in her field. So she helps entrepreneurs that are looking to franchise. She's a consultant in that space, and she helps you find the right franchise for your lifestyle. And she came to me recently and was like, listen, Henry, I like what you're doing. I love the energy that you're putting out. You know what you're doing. I just need help with this. I mean, I don't have the right players in place right now, and I'm trying to figure this all out to get to this next level. Can you help me? So yeah, I said, let's do it. So I took her through the brand accelerator program, and she went through the strategy phase, and we really started to identify who her clients were, what her new brand needed to look like, how we were going to position it in the marketplace. And she was able to get all of that articulated. And then she leveraged my team to build out her brand identity. So this was the name that we came up with for her. So she's the Fox, the franchise op expert, because that's exactly what she does. She's a franchise opportunity expert, and she will find you the best franchise for your business, for your lifestyle, really. And so we branded her with this color scheme, and everything matters, guys, from color scheme to font selection to messaging. So there was a lot of energy and time and detail put into this brand. And so this is some of her social media identity. This was her Facebook cover page, and this is what it looks like on mobile. We did some landing page work for her. So this is her website homepage. We did a webinar funnel for her, but just to give you a quick snap of how we branded her, how the messaging was crafted and articulated, how every image plays a huge role on the page, and just how we are going to take her brand to the next level by just showcasing the detail, showcasing the value. One of the things that she really was impressed with was she was very impressed with the system. She said, I never went through a program that was so systematic and frameworked out. I feel like I'm just on a ride through this beautiful rainforest, if you will. And she said, I never feel surprised. You always tell me what's going on second, third, fourth, fifth. She's able now to really focus in on business development, and she's not worried about, making business cards or designing the next landing page or website or funnel. She's got a team now to leverage all of that for her. And now she's able to scale exponentially because now she has a team on her side that's backing her up every step of the way. So leveraging people, leveraging expertise, that's the way to do it. And so that's Carrie Ann for you. And so here's case study number 2. So these guys, some of you may recognize these two individuals. This is Garrett J. White and Danielle White. They own and operate a few businesses that may do over 10 figures. And they are two amazing human beings. They are just impacting so many lives. She runs an awesome hair extension salon and she's a founder of a hair extension. He's got wakeupwarrior.com. He's impacting the lives of businessmen and fathers and just men in general. And these guys work together extremely well, have built a massive empire, and they're not stopping anytime soon. And so Garrett came to me recently and he said, Henry, here's the deal, man. I'm looking to scale and we're just out of bandwidth. I can't get things done fast enough. And I need somebody to come in like the hired gun and just whack it all out so I can focus on what it is that I need to do. I remember him telling me, dude, I'm looking for a long-time relationship here. This isn't a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, see you next year type of thing. I want you here full-time, but I need to know that you're dedicated, you're ready to go, you're passionate. And if you know who Garrett is, he's a very passionate guy. He's a very driven guy. He's a very serious and focused guy. So if I wasn't coming with that intensity, he wasn't interested. And for some of you guys who know who I am, I kind of remind myself as, I kind of think of myself as like a pit bull. Not the Pitbull the singer, but a lot of people think that I look like him. But a pit bull. So, pit bulls get a bad rap, but we have one. We rescued one about 6 years ago. They're the most docile creatures in the world, but if you get them riled up, they're going to attack. And they're very loyal. They're very loyal animals. And I am extremely loyal. But when you turn, on me, that's when the fangs come out. That's when and so that's what he was looking. He was looking for that pit bull that was going to go out there, be as aggressive as he is, but still have that sense of humor, that humanistic side, the realistic side, and somebody that he could jive with. And so that was that. And then one of the other issues he had was his branding did not match the value that he and his wife were delivering. And that seems to be the biggest problem that my clients come to me with. Is they've been in business for, a few years. They've created a great reputation and they have great programs and services, but their branding, their identity is just not cutting the mustard. Some of the stuff looks do it yourself and it's not representing them and legitimizing their work and their service and the value that they provide. And so he came to me and he says, I need this all leveled up, man. We're a 10-figure plus brand and we need our branding to look like that. And so we went to work. And so here's some of the funnel work that we were doing for Danielle. I'm going to walk you through this. So this is a sales funnel design that we're building out in ClickFunnels. And so this is what it's going to look like in ClickFunnels. And so I'm speeding through this because it's quite a long sales page. This is for a huge conference that Danielle hosts for her girls, and really just changes the lives of these stylists. And so running you through some of the look and feel of what we're doing for this brand. Now, this sales page and funnel truly represents the quality, the value, the attention to detail, right, that Danielle really puts into her work. And if you know Danielle, you know that she wants to see you win, and she will do everything it takes to make that happen for you. She's very hands-on with her clients. I've seen her in multiple videos being super hands-on. And so we needed to really articulate that and represent that in their branding. And so that's just a sneak peek of a sales page that we are building out for them. And it's coming out fantastic. And the great thing is they're leveraging other people's expertise, right? So they're getting their time back, right? And they're really focusing in on what matters. And they really focus on the majors, not the minors. I'll talk about that later on. But that is what gets them to where they're at and where they want to be. And so it's a pleasure and honor to work with these folks because they're impacting the people's lives every single day. And my goal is to work with high caliber people like this that want to make a difference, that have a purpose-driven brand, that really, truly want to make a difference. And so I got one more case study for you guys, and it's our man. It's our man, Russell B. So this is him at one of his funnel hacking live events. I was at the first three, and they're just absolutely amazing events. If you ever gone to Funnel Hacking Live, I would strongly advise you go. It's definitely quite the event, and it's not just about building funnels. There's a lot of great stuff involved. Russell's been a great friend and a great client for years, and I want to represent him here because he has a lot to do with my success and how I've grown exponentially over the past just couple years. I mean, again, I've been in business 12 years, but I feel like I just started, and that feeling is absolutely amazing to be able to scale. So, Russell again came to us and said, listen, we need help. We are all over the place with our branding. Can you kind of streamline things for us? And so I did so much work for this guy. I just picked out some of the highlighted stuff. So when he was marketing the ClickFunnels marketplace, he had our team put together some really cool landing page designs. And so these landing pages were designed for ClickFunnels so that they can use this actual funnel to sell these templates and to build their audience and sell more ClickFunnels memberships. And so we use this here. This was one that was for I think it was like an ebook. And then we have another one. Yeah, we have another one here. This was for the fitness space. So we designed all these funnels out in Photoshop, and then we handed them over to our ClickFunnels team, and then the ClickFunnels team built it all out inside of ClickFunnels. And so we wanted to showcase some of the really cool features and how far you can take design inside of ClickFunnels if you have a team that knows what they're doing. And so this was one. This was I'm sorry. There was one more that I wanted to show you. Yeah, this one here. This was for the medical field here. So we built this one out too, same way. And I mean, the design of these funnels look like, 5-figure websites, 6-figure websites. And that's our goal when we're building funnels out for our clients. We want them to really, truly represent their brands, their expertise, the value that they bring to the marketplace. I mean, that's what we do. And here we go. I'm just getting ready for the next slide. And so what happens is, when you find the systems, when you find the right people, that's when you start to scale. So the biggest takeaway I want you guys to get out of this webinar is you have to leverage people. There's no way you're going to be able to do this all on your own. When the hustle and grind to get to 6 figures, being that one-man show is only going to get you so far. You have to start to do things differently. How you got the 6 figures is not how you're going to get to 7. How you got to 7 is not how you're going to get to 10. You really have to leverage out people and expertise, because if you don't, your business is going to look like this. And I don't wish this upon anybody. But when you are trying to wing it and trying to do everything on your own, you're just not going to win. And you're going to feel that pushback. You're going to feel that glass ceiling coming down on you. And everything that I mentioned prior, those pains and struggles, are going to come at you tenfold, and you're going to feel like giving up. And so I don't want you to do that. So my recommendation is that you hire specialists and not generalists, okay? And start to build out your team. You don't want your Facebook ad manager to build you funnels. And I know you're trying to cut corners, and I know you're trying to save money, but that's not how you save it, right? You save it by hiring specialists, not generalists. And you really have to focus on the majors and not the minors. And this is something that Jim Rohn talks about a lot, and I picked that up. And a reason why a lot of folks come on board the Brand Accelerator program is because they're focusing on the minors right now. They're doing the tedious tasks that they should not be doing, and it's killing their business, and it's killing their momentum and killing their motivation, and they're just getting bogged down, and it sucks. And I don't want to see that happen. So you got to focus on the major things. So through the Brand Accelerator program, specifically the strategy and diagnosis part, we really start to focus in on the majors and start to articulate what is those things and how do we make those things happen with the resources that we have. And if we don't, how do we get them? And so we go through some massive strategy so that when we go to execute, it is intentional and everything makes sense, and your audience is now resonating with you on such a deep level, you become the obvious choice. And so that's something that I really want you to pay attention to. So at the end of the day, guys, here's the deal. Your clients need you, and you need to be in the right place at the right time. Otherwise, you're going to lose out on tremendous opportunity, and I don't want to see that happen. Okay? And so as we wrap up, guys, I just want to share with you, if you're not following me on social, go check out these platforms. I am heavily on Instagram. If you really want to catch me, that's where I'm at most of the time. But check out my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, go check that out. I'm on LinkedIn. Send me a request. I'm on Facebook and Twitter. And obviously you could check out the website at uniquedesignz.net. And so that's about it, guys. So I hope you got some value out of this and you really understand the impact of leveraging out the expertise and not trying to do it all on your own, even though when you think you can, right? And at the end of the day, guys, you really have to hire who you trust and trust who you hire. And that's one of the common mistakes people get. They just hire off the hip and they don't trust the person and they wind up micromanaging that person. It's not a good fit. That vendor becomes resentful. It's just it's a lose-lose, you know, and I don't want to see that happen for you. So I definitely want to leave you with that piece of advice so you know to make sure you do your diligence before you hire somebody, right? And it may not be me, it may be somebody else, you know. You have to really resonate with them on a deeper level and really trust that they're the fit for the job. And so make sure you do that before you before you hire somebody of this caliber. If you're looking for A-rate players, make sure that you're articulating the value that you're looking for and make sure that their values align with yours. Because at the end of the day, when those are disconnected, that's where you run into a lot of problems. So that's how Garrett and I worked really well together, because we knew we were on the same page. We're on the same playing fields. We both want what we want in our lives and for our businesses and for the people that we serve. And, you know, and I'm going to fulfill those promises because we have similar promises to our audiences. So that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Listen, if you guys are interested in taking this conversation to the next level, book a call with me on my website. Here's the link, uniquedesignz with a Z.net / introductory call. And I'd be happy to sit down with you. It is a paid consult. I will tell you that. And I will say that if you don't have an established business already that's actually generating revenue, it's probably not going to be a good fit. But if you do have a six-figure business and you're looking to scale and you're ready to take that next step and you're just fired up, you got some clarity now, you've got some focus, then let's have a call. Let's have a conversation and see how I can help you or your team take your business to the next level. So have an amazing day, guys, and I'll catch you on another webinar soon. Take care.